Welcome, Mad TV audience. It's coming up to 9 o'clock in Australia, 9 a.m. There's a lot going on in Mad TV at the moment, and I thought I'd just give you a quick catch up. So, first on the plate, I picked up the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Just ridden it straight from the motorcycle shop to here. Kind of looks really rugged. There's a lot of the Mad TV audience are interested in this little bike. 410 cc's, a lot of interest in it, and so we're going to thoroughly test it. Clubby's been on one for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, he says cheap as chips, but it's a slightly different sort of thing to what we're used to riding. But at the end of the day, it's accessible motorcycle adventure. When I was riding up the hill from the motorbike shop, I actually quite enjoyed the engine. I quite enjoyed the seated position, but I had to be really gorilla fisted with the brakes to to put the front brakes on. But really look forward to that. But that is not why I've reached out to you today. It's the Husky that I've reached out to you today for, because Nugget and I head off to Gympie in Queensland for the Husky Trek. 5 days of riding with fellow like-minded Husky riders on 701s and Nordens, and that takes place in Gympie. For those in the United States, and there's a lot watching from the States at this time of day, that's up north of Brisbane, so it's way up in the north of the state. For Nugget and I, it's about a 1100 kilometre drive to get up there. I'll just quickly go through the setup for the Husky for that trip. Just for those that have been in the channel a long time, this Husky is the one that I rode across the top end of Australia and in the Flinders Ranges. It's been a great bike, and I've just slightly changed the setup for the Husky Trek. I also want to talk about tyres. Now, in the background is the Red Rooster. More to do on the Red Rooster. We've got the muffler and all that ready to go, but we just don't have enough time. So that's the Arrow muffler. We've got a full through exhaust. Following Clubby's ride the other day, we've decided to put bar risers on it, and we've asked Rally Raid to provide some, and they just arrived just yesterday. So we've got to get some Renthal bars yet for the bar risers, but that's the next project for that bike. And that'll be close to finishing. I mean, we've got to put our giant loop luggage on it, which has arrived, and it's in the bag here. But we'll talk about that on another day. But that's close to being finished. So let's have a quick talk about this Husky 701 for the trip. I think I'm going to go to tyres first. The tyres on this bike are the Pirelli Scorpions, but they're the XC ones, so they're really dirt oriented. To be frank, I wasn't intending on riding the Husky Trek on these tyres, and I'll just go to the back so you can see they're really dirt oriented. Because 5 days of riding, I wonder how they're going to go. At the end of the day, I got a bit lazy. We were going to go on a very extreme adventure, but unfortunately I got COVID, so we never got to use the bike for that setup for really heavy dirt riding. So normally I would ride with these Pirelli Rally Scorpions. The front tyre is an absolute no-brainer. It's an outstanding tyre and wears well. The interesting one though is the rear tyre. This is the same tyre I'd put the Scorpion Rally. It's a 140. That's the same tyre I'd put on the T7. It's a very wide tyre, but you know what? They wear really well on the 701. So I'm going to sneak them into Nugget's truck just in case I run out of tyre. But anyway, it'd be interesting. I mean, we've got 5 days of riding. It's about 300 k's a day, and it'll be interesting how the bikes go and the tyres go. Oh, the other thing with this tyre is, look, They come with a 140 Continental TKC, I think. I may be wrong on that. The Pirelli is a much wider tyre. It's a much bulkier tyre. And that's good because it lasts longer and it's got good grip. The only thing is, just tipping into corners, there's a little bit of resistance there at the beginning, particularly when you're on tar, and then it kind of drops in. Alright, let's go through the Husky now. So, most of the stuff you know. What I've added since the Northern Territory Tropical Punch series is this screen. Really handy bit of kit. I've kept it light, no temptation whatsoever to get to a tower. Now I've added some specific things and taken off some specific things for this Husky Trek. So the first is a giant loop grab handle. In the 701 category there are some breakout sections that can be challenging, and it's nothing better than having just an easy grip so someone can just grab hold of the front of the bike if you get stuck. I mean, I'm going to try not to get stuck, but you never know. So the other stuff you knew about, the aluminium handguards, the flip mirrors, a couple of other things I've put on for this trip. And this is the Garmin Mount with a RAM mount. Really simple setup. You'll notice that there's no electrical connection to that. Now, for those, there's a little secret to the Husky 701, and if you look down in here, there's a USB port just there. And if I need power to charge the GPS, I'll just go off that. Okay, in terms of the setup, for camera gear, I've got my Giant Loop Fandango Pro bag. A little bit of history with that tank bag. That one has taken me right across the top end in that really shitty red dirt that stains everything, and that bag has held up well. This new design, it came out late last year in the Fandango. It's much more resilient and it doesn't distort, and no, that's going well, so that's all good. Now on the back, let's move to the back of the bike just to fill you in. Mojave saddlebags. The ride is supported. When I say that, you actually return to the same location for a couple of days and then we move on, and when we loop out of the same location again. So you don't need much on the bike, but you do need to be able to look after yourself and independent. So in the Mojave saddlebags, as you'd always expect from me, I always have a first aid kit. And believe me, I strongly urge everyone to have a first aid kit. We got tubes. I always carry a fuel pump with these. I think that I'm scarred from my 690 days. I've also got a fuel injector that I keep up my sleeve. On the other side, again, tyre levers. There's still a lot of space in there. There's still a lot of space. Yeah, but they can fit a bit more stuff yet, maybe a bit of food. Tyre levers, pump, and a toolkit, and that's it. And you'll notice it fits beautifully with my tail rack, and it just sits, and it's just secured. I mean, a lot of people would secure the Mojave probably up here a bit further to make it a little bit more angled. I just want it out of the way of the backs of the calves of my legs, so I take it down to the to this fixing point where the pillion pegs go. Alright, for those that aren't familiar with this bike, a classic. Thanks David, nice to hear from you, nice comment. For those that aren't familiar with the Tropical Punch ride, that's had 600,000 views now, so it's worth having a look at. Some brilliant riding, and if everyone who's watched it really enjoyed the series. It's broken into 2 1-hour parts. I really love the Kimberley one more so than the Cairns to Darwin, because we're genuinely exploring in that one, and we come across some Indigenous people that gave us a hand, and it's just a nice story. But one of the things I did learn in that red dust, and that is that it permeates everything, and it permeated the lock in the fuel cap, and I was turning that lock with the key, and I'm thinking that key's just going to snap off. So when I came back, I reached out to Rally Raid and got this set up, and it's just got a Cerbis fuel cap, so that's all good. And the other thing you'll notice, to be sure, another very handy hand grip at the back just so I can lift the bike up. Apart from that, if you're not familiar with the bike, everywhere I ride, any bike I have rally pegs. Why? Because they're comfortable, but they also help you turning the bike when you're standing on the pegs. And the more you stand on the pegs, the safer you are in the dirt. The longer you can stand, and if the bike is set up right, you should be comfortable standing all day, or at least for a couple of hours. Thanks, Gone Gilding. Great series. Hello from Netherlands. Go Nugget, go Nugget. Nugget will be on this ride with me. We're trucking up together. We'll probably give you a bit of live on the way through the Husky Trek to give you a sense of what it's all about. Really looking forward. Nugget and I are really looking forward to getting out together. We had a funny meet up the other day when we looked at Mark's KTM 500 EXE and Nugget's cows were mooing. Yeah, so it's great fun, and it's the first time Nugget and I have ridden together now for some time. So there'll be lots of nervous energy, and I look forward to Nugget's interviewing techniques. One of the things we're determined on doing is anyone who watches this Husky Trek video to walk away knowing what other people are doing with their Husky 701s and 901s in terms of setup. Anyway, that's it. No use rabbiting on anymore. Really, that's it. Oh my God, I nearly forgot. The Arrow muffler, that's an addition. It's taken 3 kilograms of weight off my bike, and the sound, it actually sounds like a motorbike now. It actually sounds like a thumper. Not too loud. I went past Clubby's place a couple of nights ago, and I didn't wake him up, but he certainly heard it. So shaken but not stirred. So I'm not one for noisy bikes. I've taken this for a ride. It's not noisy, and it works well. Look, it hasn't gone on the dyno. I'd say the low to mid-range has become punchier, and I'm not going to say by a lot of horsepower, but for me it was noticeable. And you know, I've been around bikes a long time, so I think it has made a difference, a slight difference to horsepower. But that's not why I got it. I got it to cut down weight. And most importantly, I was worried the muffler of the Husky the standard one gets so hot. And as I've said before, Nugget has still stains on his from the inner thighs of his legs that got just about welded to it. This is so much cooler, and I've given the bike a real thrashing, and this didn't get hot at all. You could still touch it. Yeah. If you can't get the LR kit, I didn't see that. Sorry, mate. It just faded. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, I always rabbited on about getting my LR kit. It never came. So I don't have an LR kit. For the Husky Trek, they assure us that we can do all our miles in the tank that we have. Great thing about here, though, I can easily put a giant loop fuel tank, a fuel bag on the back there without any problem if I need it. I'll take it along, but I'm pretty confident I don't need it. Alright, rabbited on enough. You know what we're up to. Really looking forward to this Husky ride. I mean, if there was a bike that was my favourite, this is it. This is set up for adventure. Leaving tomorrow for the Tet in the Balkan countries with a similar setup. Thanks for your review. I bought a 701. Yeah, mate, you did the right thing. I mean, this is my bike. I mean, I just love this. Oh, now there's another bit to this bike I'll just remind people about. It's got what's called an X-Trig suspension adjustment there. You need to install the Acro airbox to the 701, game changer with a Husky and a flash tune. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'll have a think about that. Yeah, so with the X-Trig, what that allows you to do is to change your preload really easily. It's just an 8mm socket, and you can just wind the bike up and wind it down. For this ride, the suspension is on its softest setting. Clive Ward of Motorcycle Biz set up the bike. The suspension is spot on. A couple of other things I did to prepare. I drained the brakes. The fluid, the brake fluid was as dirty as, so I've changed the fluid. I was very tempted to get a lighter bash plate, put a lighter bash plate on, but where we're going can be potentially rocky, so I've left the Outback Motor Trek bash plate on. The thing I don't, there's a lot of great things about that. I mean, it's bulletproof in terms of its strength, but one of the things is it gets noisy. Now I've got a bit of rubber between the engine and the bash plate to cut that down, but I'll be frank with you, I actually like the OEM bash plate. Ryan, love your work, we'll be following the trip. Yeah, from South Africa. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell, Mad TV. Now, on Sunday, we're going to be away, but Clubby we're experimenting with Mad TV, trying to grow it, trying to give you different content, and Clubby's going to do a news item. It goes for about 40 minutes. I've nearly put it together, and that'll be on 8 p.m. on Sunday, Australian Eastern Standard Time, Sydney time. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So let's look for your feedback and see what you think of that, because I was putting it together for Clubby last night. He's done a great job for his first one, and hopefully that section will grow. For those watching the podcast, and there's not many of you, I think they're getting around 4,000 views. I'm going to stick with the podcast because those that are using it are really enjoying it, and they're telling me so. If you don't want something on Mad TV, just say so. Simo Vision, look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Yeah, we'll see you on Sunday. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. So Nugget, we're going to sneak these tyres in. Why? Because I can. Thanks so much for Dave O'Rourke from Pirelli Australia for his long-term support of Mad TV. I mean, he's stock tyres for our little red rooster up there, and he keeps me supplied in tyres for all the bikes. So things are good. Meanwhile, the Himalayan's just going to have to sit here for a while. It'll be interesting when Nugget sees it. For those who don't know, Nugget rode a Himalayan in a great movie we made that's had 1.4 million views, called Motorcycle Adventure. It's the Himalayan Motorcycle Adventure. It's called Himalayan Motorcycle Adventure. It's the number 2 most watched motorcycle adventure movie on... I love the podcast, Danny Hall says. Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep them going, even though they're not as popular as the other stuff. Yeah, so that motorcycle adventure movie, the Himalayan one, number 2 in terms of popularity, 1.4 million views. You get to see Nugget on his. I remember Nugget, he went through a pothole, pulled on his handlebars, and they bent. Those bikes were carburetted, and we were at sometimes 16,000 feet, and the carburation really started playing up on the bikes. But these ones now, these 2022 models, are fuel injected, and there's been a lot of improvements made, but it still has the Himalayan, very strong Himalayan flavour. Alright, enough talking. Lots to do, and lots to do in the future on Mad TV. Looking forward. The Ducati Desert X is coming up, and Clubby and I have got this wonderful trip. Triumph Australia have lent us 2 1200s, and we're going to do a loop: Victoria, South Australia, Cameron's Corner, and back into New South Wales. So basically, I come back from the Husky ride. I've got a week to test the Himalayan, and then Clubby and I are away on the 1200 Triumph, which everyone's telling me is a BMW beater, and it's getting a great rap. Any more on Tenere content coming? Absolutely. Clubby is just waiting on his raid to come, and we'll be looking at that in microscopic detail. Unfortunately, the raid, has hit Europe and America. It's all in there. And Australia, we don't get it, I don't think, until March. So, yep, there's more Tenere content coming. And the other thing we haven't done is we haven't ridden our Teneres. Clubby bought his Tenere from Yamaha, and I have a Tenere that I bought, and we haven't gone on a long trip with the Safari tanks, which now give us about close to 600 kilometres range. So we need to do that as well. Alright, signing off. Thanks for joining us. Lots to talk about, but I just thought I'd bang it out on a live and so you know what we're up to. We'll see you soon.